Have you ever had a really busy month where you felt like the business was actually taking off, and then 2, 3 months later, the phone just goes quiet and you're scrambling for work again? That feast or famine cycle is not bad luck, and it's not a leads problem either. In this video, I'm going to talk about what exactly causes that and what the contractors who actually stay busy year round do differently from the other 90% who struggle with this. I've been on so many calls with contractors that are struggling to get work. When I ask them why they think that's happening, most of the time they're just like, well, I don't have enough leads. And that's why I started this business, right? I was like, well, I can help them do that. But eventually I started to realize, I started to ask people to show me their CRM and to show me what their pipeline actually looks like. And I started to see that a lot of contractors had dozens and dozens and dozens of good leads that wanted to do their project ASAP, leads that had the money to do the project, and overall were good fits for these people. And they were just sitting there in the CRM. Maybe they got like 1 follow-up, 2 follow-ups, sometimes 3 follow-ups, and then they just got forgotten and they're just sitting on there. And that's when I started to realize that when people are struggling to get consistent work, it's usually because of one of these 3 reasons. Number 1, inconsistent follow-up. Number 2, stopping marketing when they're already busy, getting confident and not continuing marketing when their calendar is full. And then number 3 is actually not enough pipeline visibility, meaning they're not getting in front of enough people to talk to. And so you have the farmer versus a hunter metaphor, right? 90% of contractors are hunters. So they're reactive. Every month, they're starting from zero and they have to go out there and get work. If they feel like their calendar is slowing down, that's when they start signing up to lead sharing platforms, reaching out to marketing agencies for them to do their marketing, posting random stuff on social media and hoping that works. But then they do all of that stuff. They maybe start getting a job here and there. They get busier again. And they are also reactive about that because now they stop doing the marketing. They stop running the ads. They stop doing the outreach. They stop doing the door-to-door. They stop systemizing their referrals. And so they go back to the beginning and they have to become hunters again. Whereas that other 10% of contractors are farmers instead, right? They're proactive. Instead of reactive, they're proactive, meaning they plant the seeds consistently so that they're able to harvest predictably. Even when they're busy, even when they have 2, 3, 4, 5 big jobs per month, it's not like they're going to get comfortable and be like, okay, I'm chilling, I'm good. No. It's like, okay, I know I have work now. I want to make sure I have work in the future, which means I'm not going to stop ads. I'm not going to stop door to door. I'm still going to ask every single one of these clients for referrals. And even though they might not have the capacity right now to take on those jobs, they know that they are planting seeds. And it can be a little bit counterintuitive because a lot of people are like, well, why am I going to try to get work if I cannot take on more work? But it's better to have people that you can turn down because you're busy instead of waiting until you're not busy to try to find those people. And that's the key to this whole thing. Become a farmer, not a hunter. The first steps to become a hunter is to actually understand the key things that must happen for a lead to go from a stranger to a customer of yours. What most contractors think is just like, well, yeah, I mean, I get a lead and then I close it, right? But it is crucial that you understand that a pipeline is just a series of events that must happen. And your success is going to be capped by how efficiently you move a person from one stage of the pipeline to the other. So a pipeline is the lead, meaning anybody who might be interested in your services. And then after a lead, you have a qualified lead, which is out of the people who are interested, who actually has the budget, who has the timeline, and overall just who is someone who you would actually want to do business with. Out of the qualified leads, then you're going to have the appointments after that, right? Because you can have 100 qualified leads, but if you don't know how to turn those into in-home appointments where you can go give them an estimate and start building the relationship, it doesn't really matter. Once you have the appointments, then you have your closes. This is arguably the most important thing you need to get good at. Out of 10 appointments, how many of those are you able to close? And after the close, a lot of people think the sales process is done, but great contractors understand that after the close, then you have the referral. Out of 10 people that you close, how many of them are actually giving you a referral? Because if you can have a good conversion rate between your closes and your referrals, then one job doesn't really mean one job. It can mean 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs each. So a few practical things that you can start doing right now in order to stop struggling with work or stop struggling to get consistent work is doing a quick audit of your pipeline. Any successful contractor, whenever they're struggling with anything in business, whenever they're not where they would like to be, this is exactly what they do. This is called bottleneck thinking, by the way, which is you go to your pipeline and then you see how many leads do I have. Out of those leads, how many of them turned into qualified leads? Out of those qualified leads, how many of them turned into appointments? How many turned into closes? How many turned into referrals? And you start having KPIs for each conversion event, right? Which means you start having standards. This is really industry dependent in terms of what a healthy KPI looks like. Like if you're doing flooring projects, having a 30 to 40% appointment to close rate might be healthy, but if you're doing like high-end home building, then having a 10% close rate might be really healthy. So it depends, but that's exactly what I would do right now if I was struggling with consistent work. I would just go to my pipeline and audit every single conversion rate for these stages. And then if you don't already have one, I would set up a CRM, because that's how you're actually going to be able to see this, right? So if you don't have a CRM, if you're like, David, I have no idea how to do this, I have no idea how to get your data. Well, first off, that's the issue, right? I would just even use create a new Google sheet and then just start tracking every single lead that you speak to. It doesn't matter how you get your leads, just you get a lead, someone that's interested in doing a service of yours, you write it down on the Google sheet, you create a column for each one of these stages: lead, qualified lead, estimates, closes, and referrals. And the sooner you start tracking that, the easier it is for you to not have to struggle with work. But if you already have a CRM and you already know your conversion rates, then the next thing that you can do is set up like a simple follow-up sequence so that no lead goes like cold without you getting either a yes or a no from that one lead. I have videos showing exactly the sequences that I use in my business and that I have implemented for other contractors. You can go watch them in this link right here, or I'm gonna link it in the description. But it can be something super simple as like, as soon as a lead comes in, they get reached out. They're like, hey, this is name from company. I saw you were interested in service. How can we help? And then if they don't respond, 24 hours later, they get another text just like, hey, bumping this up, let me know. Another 2 days go by, they get another text. And you're also giving them a call every single day, double dialing them, and still no response. 95% of people just forget about that lead. But you gotta understand, people are busy, man. Like, especially if you're doing something like ads, they might have been wanting to do the bathroom for months now, and they're ready and they have the budget now, and they stumble across your ad, and then they saw it, they were interested, they clicked on it, but then as soon as they filled out their information and sent it to you, then they went back to work, or they went back to pick up their kids from school, or whatever it is they were doing, and then they just haven't had the time, and maybe it's a super busy week. But if you just do like 2 or 3 follow-ups and then just forget about the lead, then you're potentially missing out on like a $15,000-$20,000 bathroom right there in this example, right? That's one lead, but once you start getting 1, 2, 3 of those a day, imagine how much money you're losing out on just because you don't have a follow-up system in place. That's the next thing that you can do. That's the next practical thing that you can do. And then the next one is just start marketing consistently even when you're busy. And this is just getting in the habit of filling up the pipeline before it empties, right? So not waiting until your calendar gets empty before you want to start filling it up again. Imagine you have a contractor doing 50K a month, right? They're busy, their crews are full, phone is ringing, life is good, feels great. So he stops running ads. He stops following up with old leads. He assumes that he's gonna get referrals from those jobs that are active right now. And then 3 months later, the phone goes quiet. So then the crews are just sitting around. He panics, he starts scrambling for work. He turns the ads back on, and then by the time he gets momentum again, another 2 months have gone by. So that's already 5 months of potential revenue, 5 months that he could have been using to just keep filling up the calendar. And it was 100% preventable if he would have just continued with his marketing. So the problem is not that he's not getting enough leads. The problem was that he just stopped doing the things that got him busy in the first place, just because he got comfortable, or he didn't want to deal with the inconvenience of turning people down because he's too busy, or quote unquote wasting money. You're not wasting money. You're securing your revenue for the next few months. And a lot of people are not in a huge rush to do the reno, so you can book them out for 1, 2, 3, even 4 months in advance with no issue at all. And if you think you can, then that's a sales issue, but that's another video. And then the last practical thing that you can do is just getting in the habit of tracking at least one of these conversion rates every week. So at the end of every week, you sit down, you look at your CRM that you should already have, and you just get the conversion rate from, it can be from qualified leads to appointments. 27%, or okay, we got 35%. Okay, yeah, we got 10 qualified leads this week and we booked 3, whatever it is. Or you can be like, okay, I went to 4 estimates this week. I already sent 3 and 1 of them has closed. Okay, that's a 25% conversion rate for this week. Good. You just write it down in your CRM. You're like, boom. You do this for a few weeks and then you start getting in the habit of tracking more and more and more and more. And then eventually next time you're in a bit of a drought or work starts slowing down, you can just log into your nice CRM and then look at the metrics and then, okay, this is the bottleneck, right? I've been closing 15% less this month. Why Why is that? Well, I've been feeling a little bit stressed out. That makes sense. Well, and then you can actually pinpoint the problem and start improving upon it. Whether your sales went down because you've been stressed, or you have been skipping important stuff in your estimate appointments, like asking for enough information or asking for the close, or whoever's doing the marketing for you is doing some shitty ads, so the leads that you're getting are not as qualified. Like you can actually pinpoint what's going on if you have clear data. But if you don't have any of this, and then you start panicking, you're like, oh shit, yeah, no, Facebook ads doesn't work, or I don't know how to sell, like you're just guessing. You're just panicking. You're acting based on emotion, which is not going to get you very far in business. This is also why marketing agencies get a bad reputation out there, because most marketing agencies promise a bunch of leads, a bunch of appointments without actually fixing the pipeline first. And that would be like giving like a fire hose to someone that has a bucket with a bunch of holes in it, like I've talked about before, and they're just pouring a bunch of water into this bucket, but then there's a bunch of holes that are going out, in this case of water being the leads. The contractors end up closing nobody, and then they blame it on the agency. Or if you have a bad agency that's getting you bad leads, and you add that on top of you not closing enough leads and not having the systems in place, how can you expect to make it work with a marketing agency or anybody else for that matter? And by the way, contractors who blame the market or a marketing agency or the economy for them not liking the situation that they're currently in are almost 95% of the time the contractors that do not have these systems in place. Because the ones that have these systems, like, they stay busy regardless, whether the economy goes down, whether this guy became president, this happened, this, like, they don't care. They have systems in place, they have marketing in place. There's always going to be people interested in doing renovations in their home, and they're very well positioned to capture these people regardless of what's going on in the world. And oh yeah, everything's been so slow, I haven't gotten a project in like 2 months, what's going on? Like, there's people out there who just stay busy year round. So yeah, if you're struggling to get work, or you're trying to get the business to the next level by getting busier, having someone install these systems for you, having someone getting you in front of people that are actually qualified and that are not going to waste your time, and be able to do that every single week so you can start closing more and more and more projects, you can click the first link in the description. You don't have to click it. It's just a video of me explaining how my company can help you fix that problem. And yeah, if you liked the video, the topic that I talked about today, there's a button for that. You can leave any comments if you had any questions or any ideas or opinions about this. And if you want YouTube to start recommending you more videos talking about stuff like this, everything related to how to get more projects for remodeling contractors or just home service contractors in general, then you can click the subscribe button so that YouTube starts recommending you more stuff like this. Now that you know why contractors struggle with this and how they fix it, it's time you actually start building these systems. So you can click in this link right here. That's going to take you to a video where I explain exactly how to build these systems and everything you need to do to set it up. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.